Today we're going to do installment 3 of our 4-part series on writing a death metal song from idea to publishing. What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Taylor and we are on part 3. So in the last 2 episodes of this episodic metal songwriting thing we're doing here. In the first episode, we went over our setup. We got our rough idea down. In the second episode, we took that idea to the drummer that I work with in my band, Sacrificer, and we sort of like went over some parts. He helped me out with some of the transitions and writing the drums because I'm not a drummer. I'm also not a bass player. I'm holding a bass right now, but we'll get to this in a second. And in this third installment, we're gonna go through, we're gonna refine the song. We're gonna do the thing that kind of gives me pause, gives me like a knot in my gut, if I'm being honest with you, and that's like finalizing this, but I think it's a very important part of the process. So we're gonna go through, we're just gonna say we're good with this, we're gonna finalize it, and then in part 4, we will do the mixing, we will do the mastering, and we will publish it. We'll go over all that with you. And as with all the videos in this series, they are brought to you by Toontrack for Metal Month. So big shout out to Toontrack and thank you for making these videos happen. Let's get to it. Right now, I have this bass up because I started tracking bass to this. I was trying to get in the mood to songwrite, and then I just realized, you know, this is probably a good thing to get on camera for everybody else. This might be beneficial to other people. So, you know, I'm having a little bit of a hard time getting in the groove to like write. So I just opened this up and just started recording bass to it. Here's what I have so far. I'm not a prolific bass player by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a pretty abysmal bass player, if I'm being honest with you. But I just want to talk a little bit about what I have going on here. Like all the other tracks, I have Easy Mix 3 on the bass track. I'm using this growly bass. I went through a lot of these and I just found that this just... I just like where that sits. It's not overly boomy, it's not overly fizzy. This bass is always hard to get to sit in a mix, but it's way more comfortable for this tuning than my other bass that I use, so just filling you in on the bass stuff. The bass is probably the most boring part of this process, so I'm just gonna move through this quickly. Basically, when I'm recording bass, I just try and stick to root notes, man. I don't do anything crazy. The one thing I will say is that if I'm doing something really fast on guitar, like I tend to cut the amount of notes way down because you end up with listening to more of that than the actual notes on a bass, and I did. Let me show you. And that's like my whole philosophy. I'm playing bass in 2 minutes. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, I'm just gonna do something really, really simple right there. That's probably good. And I know this click drives some of you crazy. I've had lots of comments about the click, but you gotta become one with the click, man. I have a hard time writing songs without a click, but I will turn it down a little bit for you. You know, I don't need to do anything fancy with the bass here, to be honest with you. Not that bass isn't an important instrument, it's just that I'm not good at it. I just need something that's good enough to be the bass part, you know what I mean? And not try to highlight it. Like if you have a really good bass player, then definitely spend more time on this process, obviously. But if you are the bass player and you're terrible, just try to get something that you can play that is good enough to not sound bad when you listen back to it. You know, some of the most famous bass lines in the world are the most simple things ever. You know what I'm saying? These are all the program drums, by the way. I know in the last video I put Duncan's drums in here, but we will go over that in a second because we're really gonna combine elements from both. That might be kind of cool. We'll take the bass for a walk there. We're just gonna copy and paste that second half because it was better than the first half. Okay, I'm gonna put the bass away for now because I think that we got the at least the preliminary bass done, so it'll be fine. All right, now we're just gonna focus on the arrangement And a lot of this is gonna have to do with the drums because, like I said 100 times in the last video, I was having problems with the transitions. I like this opening. Duncan did something really cool though, which he did not send me in the MIDI, but when I rewatched the video, I remembered it started with a tom hit. Kind of one of those happy accidents, right? So we're gonna go back to the beginning here. I'm just gonna give myself some room, give myself 2 bars, essentially. We'll just draw it in. I'm gonna open this. That's it. You know, I'll change the velocities here to sort of humanize it a little bit, but it's just one hit. I think it's gonna be fine. I will get rid of the click for this part. Maybe let's see what Duncan put right. You know what? I think to make this easier on myself, I'm going to duplicate this track and then we'll get rid of all of the MIDI on this top track. Put this here, get rid of that. Okay, so I like what he did here a lot, this like fill that he did in this. The only thing, I'm gonna have to actually quantize this a little bit. I know, I hate doing this, but you know, given the time and the circumstances and everything, it's kind of understandable that it was like a little bit sloppy. So we are going to go in here, I'm gonna hit this big Q, it's gonna quantize everything. And then we get this option here and we'll quantize it like 90%, so that way it's not like snapping it perfectly to the grid. So we'll take this fill, we'll drag it down here. And I could sit here and I could quantize these, I could fix it, but it's like, you know, I'd rather just use these as a guide and then pull in the bits and pieces that I need to get this part across the finish line for time-saving purposes. Now, quick note, if you are in a band, like I said, I would spend more time on that part of it and like getting the drums good, whether you're doing MIDI or you're recording live drums or whatever it is. I would just spend more time practicing and getting the parts and learning them rather than like, you know, kind of what we did here for demonstrative purposes where it's like, hey, you have 3 days to listen to this song, figure out some drum parts, and then I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna shoot us recording the drum parts for demonstrative purposes. You know what I mean? It's a little bit rushed, but you know, if you took your time, I think that you could come out with a much better drum part that you could probably just use the whole thing on, you know? But let's just keep going here. I think I'm probably actually gonna use this, at least mostly. Let's try it. I'm just gonna quantize this a little bit. I need a snare here for sure. I like this little thing he did here. We're gonna copy this, paste that here. Let's see what Duncan's doing with his hands up here on this one. I'm actually going to. So I'm going from bar 28 back to bar 28 here, and I'm going to copy all this cymbal stuff. See what that sounds like. I think this one's gonna work. That's a good fill into this next part too, so that works really well. I just need this to not be monotonous, so I just need to spend a little bit of time here and like add in some fills. I mean, we got this basic beat down, right? Beat down, beat down. And especially since the guitars repeat 4 times there. That's actually not bad. And you know what? I feel like this part's too long and I feel like I wanna go back into this later in the song. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually just gonna take this second half that we've already programmed drums to and everything, drag it over there, and then we're gonna scoot this back. And especially since we're going into a repeat, I don't want that part to be even more repetitive, you know? So this is what the whole transition looks like. And then that fill actually doesn't work now that it's going into that part. So let's chop this up. Let's see if this other thing works. That's better. And you know what? Maybe we drop out again right there. Let's just hear what it sounds like. Why not? We'll leave that. We'll come back to it. Okay, this is the vibe right here for sure. And let's add this blast beat from this black metal pack in here as well. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay, and then here. Actually, what Duncan was doing right there might be a little bit better. At least it sounds more realistic. I'm gonna pull this out just in case, but I think we're gonna drag this down into the play thing here, and we're gonna edit it, and we're gonna change the power hand to bell tip. Now that we have that edited, let's drag it into here and finish editing it. I love to edit in the actual dock. Let's see if this is like halfway, so let's see if these things will play nice together. And then let's actually find something. I know I'm like spending a lot of time on this one fill, but these are the important parts, man. This is what makes, you know, a song much more listenable. Fills. Not really fills, but like transitions. This might be okay. Let's try that. This thing, we'll grab his cymbal thingy here. I think I just got to do away with this part. I'm like not really stoked on it, but then we're gonna reinsert that beat down part here again. So let's see if that works. Maybe we go into this after that. Let's try that. Whatever I do here, I'm gonna have to live with. That is the reality of the situation. Making a song with a time limit, I think is a really good thing because it will make you commit to things that you might, at least me, I might like drag my feet on, but you know, there's definitely some instances where like more time is needed in some cases. So I just polished that up a little bit. I mean, those are the drums he wrote. I just had to like fix them a little. Again, I just want to say like you're doing what's best for the song here. And, you know, sometimes parts need to be fixed a lot. I'm pretty much against editing to a grid, making everything perfect. But in some cases you do have to fix things. Preferably in a perfect world, you just have super talented musicians that nail their parts all the time, but you know, we don't live in a perfect world. Anyone who has tracked anything will attest to that, I'm sure. Okay, let's go through this song and like, let's just see where everything sits. I need to mute these drums. Like you can see, I used big chunks of the parts Duncan recorded, and then I used a lot of it to inform me what drum grooves to use as well. So, you know, I feel like that was very, very productive having him help out in writing this song. I think we probably came out with a much better product as a result. Let's listen to it. And, you know, like I said, I'm normally against editing stuff, but I think this will be easier to edit the guitars right here rather than re-record them, because that's what's making this part not tight. And it's like just a little nudge. And if this was a full album that I was releasing and not something I was doing for demonstration under a timeline, I would probably re-record these parts, to be honest with you. This part, when I was recording it, I swear I could hear synth in the background. I mean, I'm a little bit crazy, but that's okay. But what I'm gonna do here is I have this little mini MIDI keyboard that I use to program synth stuff. We're gonna open an instance of 𝐒𝐏𝐄𝐂𝐈𝐻𝐿𝐿𝐼 𝐒𝐏𝐄𝐂𝐈𝐻𝐿𝐼 2, by the way. I have both of them, but we're gonna go with 𝐒𝐏𝐄𝐂𝐈𝐻𝐿𝐼 2 because it's newer. It's better, right? I'm gonna go with this dark industrial for now. I might change this, but we'll do this for now. I'm not sure exactly what I want here, but I just want to have something here. It's kind of cool, not what I'm looking for though. Maybe let's try the cinematic pads. There we go. That's closer. I just want to add texture there, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to play like something crazy. What am I? I'm in like G sharp. Maybe just something like that. I think that actually transitions that nicely. And then let's go to this part. Something like that. gonna leave it in, but I think I'm actually gonna cut this out in the mixing, like it'll fade out or something. This went much better than I thought it was going to. I'm glad I like just got my shit together and did it. All right, there you have it. If I'm gonna get this song done and completed in time, I'm gonna have to call it on that. I think I'm good though. This actually came out much better than I thought it was going to. You know, originally when I laid out this idea to Toon Track, I wasn't really sure how the song was gonna come out because I knew we were doing it in a shortened period of time, but I think it actually came out pretty good. All right, shout out to Toon Track for sponsoring this video. Shout out to you for being here with me. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you really like what I do here on this channel, consider subscribing or joining these beautiful people over here on Patreon, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.